What was your just overall? The trade deadline is come and gone. Seahawks make a move for a wide receiver in Rashid Shaheed. They send a 4th and a 5th round pick next year in exchange for him. What do you think of that move?
Oh, I like it. I mean, Rashid, he can flat out run, dude. That dude is, I mean, that dude's greased lightning on the outside. So I think it's always one of those things that anytime you can get a guy that's a threat, lift the top of coverage threat, what it does to open up all your underneath stuff, just that weapon that it gives you. Plus, Bobo has the injury. Obviously, Cooper Kupp has a hamstring. Although I did not know Cooper Kupp ran fast enough to pull a hamstring. So that I did not know that. So that's good to know. He's faster than I thought. So I love Cooper. But he is an Eastern Washington guy. So I got to give him a little grief. Although Weber State, Rashid Shaheed is a Weber State guy. So you guys are populating the Big Sky. The Big Sky is represented well there in Seattle. So good for you guys.
That's why we have him on. He knows.
Yeah.
He knows the Big Sky.
Yeah,
Idaho
exactly.
part of that, apparently, right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Like you didn't know. Good one, Bob.
Hey, what about just around the league? What was your reaction of some of the trade deadline trades? And then also, I want a 2-part question. Do you remember anything? Like, I was part of the trade deadline. I got traded to the 49ers my rookie year,
Yeah.
and then I failed the physical, came back to Seattle. But you ever remember any players like that really came in and helped your team?
That must have been awkward, Dave. Like when you fail a visit, you come back and they're like, "Oh, we thought we got rid of you. But this guy again?
Yeah.
Man, he's like a fungus. We can't get rid of the guy." No, I don't know that. I don't know that I was ever a part. Obviously, it's more prevalent now than it was in our time, Dave. It didn't happen very often. So I can't think of I can't think of anybody during my career that either got traded to us or we traded away. Um, so no, but I mean, it's crazy to watch it go down now. To watch the Jets unload for draft picks they're going to screw up anyway. Um, like, I mean, like the Jets, like, oh, we're going to get rid of all this salary that we gave on the only 2 guys we've ever drafted that are worth, a squirt of urine, but we're going to get rid of them to get a bunch more draft picks that we're going to screw up. Like, I don't understand the Jets. But thank goodness. Hey, if it wasn't for the Jets screwing up Sam Darnold, you guys wouldn't be watching a potential MVP type of candidate the way that guy has played. So good for you guys.
Yeah. Do you think there are players coming out in the draft going, well, I know there are actually, but how about when you were coming out in the draft? Were there teams you looked at and going, don't let that team take me? I don't want to be a part of that organization.
Bob, I was a 10th rounder out of the University of Idaho. No, I mean, I was anywhere would have been great with me. But now you look at it and, if you're a free agent, there's certain teams you don't want to sign with. And if you're a draft pick and you get picked by the Jets, you act excited, you go, oh, yeah. And you're at that, especially if you're at wherever the draft is being held, and you clap and you put on your Jets hat, and then you do that, thing with it. And inside internally, you're going, you got to be kidding me. Like, you just got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
What
do you think
disaster?
You think Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall were going, well, how come you didn't move us? We would like to be somewhere else.
Yeah, of course. They were like probably ringing up the Jets brass. Who's their GM? Like, hey, dude, hello. I'm good to go. I'm good to go. Yeah. So I am sure that's the case in New York. I mean, it just is sad. I thought about this. I went there and called the game, Dave, and Dave, you could picture this, right? I go there, call a game. So I'm at the practice on Friday. And pre-practice for me, like I always was a stickler about working my takeoffs, right, and having the perfect footwork on whatever it was, like 19 handoff, 18 handoff, and taking pass sets and get myself ready for practice, and just being a stickler for perfect practice. And I walk out there, and the Jets offensive line are running pat and go, running 40-yard bombs. And I thought to myself, one, what a worthless thing to do to warm up at practice. And two, if anybody would have ever asked me to do that before practice, like I get that you're supposed to have fun or whatever. I've been like pound sand. I am not. If I have to run 40 yards, somebody scored. Like either them or us. Like why in the world would I waste my time running pat and go? Like it's the dumbest thing. And and you guys aren't any good. Like how does that equate to you having success when you can't come off the ball and have stellar footwork? And I just like crappy organizations are crappy for a reason because they do stupid stuff.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I mean, offensive linemen must just be going, you got to be kidding me. I mean, that's the one time when you probably could pull a hamstring, as
Right.
far as a tackle goes. I remember when I got drafted, Green Bay on ESPN was on the clock. And the Green Bay back in those days was a place you didn't want to go, because
Mhm.
remember they had like half their games they played in Milwaukee. And
Right.
they were trying to bring all the people back, and people weren't going to games out in Green Bay. So, but yeah, it's kind of interesting how it just seems like the Jets have pretty much always been bad. But who are some of the other ones? Like you've visited all of these teams, and it looks like Carolina is a bit of a bleep show going on down there. Jacksonville seems like maybe it's on the mend, but
Or the team you just called this weekend, right? Weren't you on the Raiders game?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
They just traded
I
Jacoby
just think
Myers.
right. I just think there's so much of that which we don't see on the surface is ownership. And if you have bad ownership, and I've probably told you guys this story before, but like I learned everything I need to know about, like I worked as a plumber's apprentice for part of a summer. And the guy said, one of the first days I'm working with him, he goes, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about plumbing. I was like, wow, oh, this is going to be great. And he goes, this what the one thing he goes, crap flows downhill, and he's like, that's all you need to know. And then the principle was I was digging a sewage line, from the place where the drainage all the way down to the septic tank. And he goes, just got to be on a grade. Like I hand dug this thing. Took me about 8 hours. And the bottom line is that's how organizations work. If you've got crappy ownership, it's going to flow downhill and things are not going to work properly. And the owners, you got to sign checks, you got to give authority to the people you hire. And the bad owners, guys like Woody Johnson with the Jets, consistently circumvent the authority of the head coach. And I come on your guys' show weekly, and if I prove anything is on a weekly basis, is regardless of how old I am, the players are children. I'm a child, and and so the bottom line is if your ownership does not empower your head coach to be an authoritative figure, and that head coach has got ultimate authority to cut me, then I'm always going to test the boundaries because I'm a child. I play a game for a living.
Mhm.
And ultimately, if you don't have great ownership, you will never have consistent continued success.
Hey, as far as that Raiders team goes, what is it? Ownership there? Is it Pete? I'm just curious why, or just maybe overall lack of talent. Why are they so bad?
Well, I mean, one, they like I think anything about the NFL, you can have all kinds of talent. You can do a lot of things well. Um, if you don't control line of scrimmage, if you can't physically whip people, you're just not going to win on a consistent basis. And I think that's the most important aspect of football. The one thing that will never go in and out of style, the one thing that will never change. If you can't dominate the line of scrimmage, you cannot win in this league. It can't be done. And so you got to be able to do that. I think they don't do that well, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Now, they've been really injured. They got a lot of their players back this last week and they played a lot better football. Um, and so, that's a work in progress. The other thing is when you're trying to revamp your organization and you're trying to kind of change. your culture, quote unquote, it takes a couple of years usually. You got to get through some players, you got to get through some systems, you got to change some of the guys. Some of the guys just don't fit what you want to do. You got to get rid of those guys, and some of the guys just aren't a great fit for you culturally, and you got to find a way to get rid of those guys. And you really can't just do that in an off season. So it takes a little bit of time, and I think with the Raiders, they lack a certain level of talent that they have to cure that. And then what Pete wants to do, defensively and stuff, like you got to get the right players to do it.
Hey, Mark, what do you? I know you haven't like entirely studied the Seahawk offensive line, and this was one of the few trade deadlines where we thought, didn't think first about the offensive line. But they're kind of struggling with the run game. But the thing is, man, they have kept Sam clean, and I don't know how much of that. I can't recall if I'm looking back how much of it is more about Sam Darnold or is it about the offensive line. But they've given up the fewest sacks in the
Right.
NFL, and this is something that's been complained about here for years. But and they haven't, like I said, they haven't quite gotten the run game down yet. But they're keeping Sam pretty clean, and I know a lot of that is him getting the ball out and moving around the pocket, but still that number doesn't lie. And I'm just kind of trying to figure out where the offensive line is, and
Mhm.
do they need to get that run game going for them to be a legit good offensive line?
Yeah, well, I think ultimately, David, it's really interesting. I think Clint Kubiak gets a lot of credit for how that offensive line is playing, or the limited number of sacks. One, their quick game, Sam Darnold being able to read it and just let it eat. He's been incredible at getting that ball out. And then one of the big things is attempts. I want attempts, even if I don't get a great yard per carry average. I want those attempts because those attempts give me an opportunity to change up my pass sets, to be able to take the passive out of pass protection. That's always a big issue with me, is if all you do is drop back and you don't get those attempts and people don't have to actually, step up and try to stop the run, then your play action game isn't as good. Obviously, that doesn't work as well. So the attempts are important to me. Then the boot keep game, the waggle game, just the quick game, I think they do an exceptional job of that. And then I think that Sam Darnold is one of those guys that's more athletic than probably gets credit for. And I think his pocket movement skills have been very good, like being able to step up in the pocket, slide left to right, kind of roll his shoulders, avoid some contact, and still be able to find his guys. I think that's been really good. So I think it's a combination of all those things. But if you show me an offensive line that gives up a lot of sacks, I'll show you two things: a quarterback that doesn't get the ball out, and I'll show you an offensive coordinator, play caller that doesn't understand the value of the run. And so all those things are in combination. I've said this for quite some time now, a couple of years, that sacks are more of a quarterback driven statistic and a play caller statistic than they are an O line statistic in today's game. And I believe that to be true. And I think Clint's doing a great job of being balanced, of having enough run to open up the play action so you can get outside the pocket with the boot game, the waggle game, and all that stuff, and enough of the quick game to allow his offensive line to be aggressive in pass pro. And I think that's the big difference.
Hey, coming out of this game with the Commanders, we were talking, it may be the most complete win of the season. I mean, just they did everything well: offense, defense, special teams. It was a fantastic effort. And some were saying, well, that's a signature win. And I'm like, yeah, that's a team that's now lost 4 in a row. They're below 500. To me, a signature win would be if you beat the Rams or you beat a team in your division that's you're neck and neck with, or one of the elite teams. How would you define a signature win for a team?
Yeah, you'd always like to see it against, a team that you think is really, really good. Obviously, I mean, I think that's a big part of it. But you still line up and play the teams on your schedule. And you know what's nice is when you play a team that's desperate, a team that has a winning record or a winning tradition from going back to last season, a team that got its quarterback back healthy, at least for 3.5 quarters, and then you put it on that team. And I mean, flat out put it on that team. And so those are good things. Those are great confidence builders. Yeah, like, hey man, when you play the Rams and you do it to the Rams, that'd be great. But I love it when all things click at every level of your football team, both, or all three phases, if you will, offense, defense, and special teams. And so that's a really, I don't know about signature win, but it's a really good win for the Seahawks.
Hey, are you headed back to Carolina anytime soon? I know that's your
Yeah.
favorite place
As
to
a matter
go.
of fact, this week I'm heading back to Carolina.
Got
The
to win.
5-4, the
How
5-4 Carolina Panthers.
about
How about
that?
that?
Yeah, I mean
I
that
know.
that was surprising going into Green Bay, getting that win. It's fantastic.
I know, really surprised. I mean, I mean, think about their quarterback, right? He was 11 of 20 with one interception, 102 yards,
Mm.
and you get the win. That's a quarterback. Like, that just goes to show you wins are not a quarterback driven statistic. Dude, you were 11 of 20. Like, we trust you so much, we're going to let you throw it 20 times, and even that's too much. But don't let this play out in Carolina. I got to go meet them and be at practice
Yeah, okay.
on Friday. So keep this just between us, me and you people in Seattle.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? For a guy that protected a quarterback for his entire life, you're almost like on quarterbacks like I am on kickers. You're
Yeah.
almost like they're not even real football players.
Well, they're not. They're not real. I mean, come on. They wear pink jerseys in practice.
Yeah.
They're not real football players. Like, they should be eliminated. They should have their own category. When we vote for MVP of the league, they shouldn't be
Not
allowed to
included.
win MVPs. They don't play football. They play quarterback. We know that. We've discussed this before. Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, I don't really care for the way it operates. And you can't, as a defender, man. You gotta hate it. You can't hit them high. You can't hit them low. You can't.
Can't
You
touch 'em.
can't if you tackle them and you don't roll over on your own shoulder. That's a penalty. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know how you play it defensively.
Hey, Mark, the Cardinals are coming up for the Seahawks, and Jacoby Brissett's going to get the start there. And you getting all the stories coming out today that are they just feeling like he's a better fit, that the team responds better with him as opposed to Kyler Murray, who's been dealing with an injury. I don't know how close Kyler is to coming back if they made a choice in that situation, but do you buy into that? Do you think they could possibly be a better team with Brissett, who's been a perennial backup, versus Kyler Murray?
I don't think they could. I don't think possibly could be. They're a better team with Brissett.
So you would just start him even with Murray healthy. You'd say that's my starter.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I could have traded him today, I'd have traded him. Like you don't win football games in the NFL by consistently playing off schedule. You make Sports Center highlights doing that. That's how you make Sports Center highlights.
Yeah.
And you lose games until you fall in love with the boring. Like, when you've been gifted, this is the problem with being an athlete who plays quarterback. I want a quarterback who happens to be an athlete, not an athlete who happens to play quarterback. And the problem is your whole life as an athlete, you've been able to operate on a default mechanism as I'm more athletic than everybody else I'm playing against. So when things break down, let me just start scrambling around and making plays. And oh, by the way, even when things don't break down, let me scramble around and do something exciting. Well, the issue that you get into is when that's your default mechanism, you're going to make 2 or 3 highlights, but you're going to make 4 or 5 highlights for the defense.
Yeah.
And that's going to cost you a football game. Your default mechanism needs to be from not the neck down, but the neck up. It needs to be your brain. And you need to know how to get rid of the football, and you need to know how to manage the game. And boring is what wins in the NFL. And I always fall back to the story of talking to Byron Leftwich about Tom Brady. And I said, what is it that surprises you about Tom Brady? What makes him so great? And he goes, hey, man, if we're running curl flat, which is a day one installation, and the flat, which is, a little, whether it's tight end or receiver or running back out in the flat, it's a 6-yard route. And he goes, if the flat is the first read in the progression and the flat is open, Tom Brady throws it 100 out of 100 times and puts us in 2nd down and 5. And he goes, and it never fails. That's how you win in the NFL. You don't win by pulling the ball on a curl flat and go, let me get something better. and then you bypass the curl, you bypass the flat, and the next thing you know, you scramble around, and you may throw one 60 yards for a touchdown, and everybody gets excited about it. But the next 3 times you take sacks, and one of those sacks is a strip sack fumble, and you lose a game by 3 points because you give up a defensive touchdown. That's what happens to you when you play like Kyler Murray. The best thing ever happened to Arizona with him having this injury is they realize that he is not the answer going forward, and they will move off of him. That's my prediction. You heard it here first.
Good
right
stuff.
on whatever your station is.
Wyman and Bob, Seattle Sports. Come on.
Okay.
Whoever you guys are that I'm talking to. That's it.
That's good. Good stuff, though. Good stuff.
Mark, as always, great stuff. We appreciate you. I'm Bob. That's Dave. This is Seattle Sports.
Yeah, and by the way, that's Socrates there. When he was talking to, the philosophical crap flows downhill. I mean, that was genius.
Yeah,
It's brilliant.
That's gold.
Yeah.
Brilliant
That's
stuff.
gold.
Yeah, just remember it. Hoop flows downhill. Write it down.
We appreciate you, man. We'll talk
Thanks,
next
buddy.
week.